Hello and welcome to Rick's RC Flying channel. In this video I thought I'd share with you just how I'm routing my Airlon servo extensions through the wing. And now through the years I've repaired other modelers' airplanes, so I've seen a lot of different ways extension wires are run through the wings. Everything from just through simply the holes of the ribs and then channeled through. Now of course, you know, if you're building the airplane and before it's covered, that's easy to do. However, once it's covered, can be a bit of a tricky proposition. Of course, having a piece of string run through there, and we'll look at that a little bit later, that will help you channel a wire through. I personally like some kind of tubular channel. Now, I've seen them fabricated a lot of different materials, everything from rolling some bristle board, fabricating it that way. And, you know, I've even seen it channels made out of balsa wood. So it's all kinds of things. A common one, of course, would be a cardboard tube. You know, wherever you can kind of find these off paper toweling or who knows what. But this one here has got a 1-inch diameter. It's rather on the large size, unless you have really a lot of wires to run through. This one's 15 inches long, weighs 1 ounce. So it's a little more than what you need and weight-wise. Another one is this plastic tube. Now it's just a little bit more than a 1/2 inch. I think it was 9/16. And now it's very easy to slide wires through it, being plastic. This one is 17 inches long and weighs 5/8 of an ounce. And I got this actually off of Amazon. And so it'll be interesting to use it on this sweet and low project. Now, you know, this should have been done before the sheeting on top of the wing. You know, I've had numerous projects on the go, and it was just something I basically forgot to do at the time. And but, you know, I'll deal with it now. We're just going to cut the appropriate opening, and hopefully we won't have too much trouble channeling that through to the Airlon bay. Well, the tubes are glued in place now, and it was more work than necessary because they should have been installed before I did the sheeting, which I normally do, but I had a blank attack, I guess, that day when I was building. And anyways, as a result, I had to cut them in half and install them in 2 pieces. It all worked out fine. It's very sturdy. As a matter of fact, I can't believe how much strength they really provide. They almost act like spars. It's going to make it very easy to channel through the Airlon extension wires. And if I ever need to replace anything, it'll be very simple to do. Now, before you put the covering on the airplane wing, whatever that might be, make sure that you've thought out and you know what the process is going to be when it's time to fish wires into the wing. Now, in this particular case, we have an Airlon servo mid-wing, and we know we're going to need a servo extension to this compartment. So you have options on how to go about it, and depending how you prepared for it. One of them is, now before the fabric is on, you can take a string and secure it in the servo compartment and fish it through the wing so the string is in midsection. Now I've got the string on top of the wing just for demonstration purposes. Now you may just have openings within the ribs and you're fishing it through, or you may have prepared a channel for it a tube of some sort, and you can fish it through. The string would then reside in the center section. Once you're ready to install your radial gear, you can then tape the extension wire to the string, and then from the servo compartment, you pull the string and it brings the servo extension to this bay. And then you simply attach it to your servo. You can then remove the string. Should you ever have to replace the servo wire extension, and I've had to do it on a couple of airplanes through the years because of RF problems. And so what you do is then resecure the string in your servo compartment, tape the extension wire to the string. As you pull the extension wire out, it brings the string back to the center section. You then simply take the new extension wire, attach it to the string, and then pull the string, and then brings the extension wire back into the servo compartment, reattach it to your servo, and then you can remove the string. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. And now, there's, depending on how you prepared the channel, it might just be opening holes within the ribs and no channel tube. And the string method will work with that. And or you could fish it through with some kind of a push rod, piano wire, or in this case, it's a plastic tube. It actually came out of, it's the inner part of a Nyrod push rod. So depending on how it's been prepared, and in this case, if you have some kind of a channel tube, then you can simply push this through, and then it's very easy to do. Now, if you don't have a channel tube and it's just openings within the ribs, and especially if you have, multiple ribs, this method is rather tricky, if not sometimes almost impossible, because what happens as you're pushing it through, because it's flexible and it bends, it actually hits the rib, and it's very hard sometimes to find that hole, and you actually end up having to turn and twist it and fiddle around a lot. Can be very challenging, to say the least. Of course, the best method is if you have prepared some kind of tube within the wing, makes it very easy. Now, in my case, the material I used for the tube is a plastic one. It's very low friction, very slippery. So I don't need anything. I don't need a string or a push rod. I can simply, take my servo extension, place it in the tube, and it simply slides in. Very easy. Works really, really well. Doesn't matter on the distance. So that's another way of doing it. And it's my preferred way. So those are just a few little tricks. And of course, once the wing is covered, fishing wires through it is a whole different proposition. So make sure you have a plan of action. So now the wing is truly completed. There's nothing else to build on here anymore. This was the last step that had to be taken for the tubes installed. And so now I'm just going to do a little bit of shaping and sanding, and the wing will be ready for covering. And that'll be a separate video that'll show that whole process taking place. So if you have any questions or comments, I always appreciate it. And if you like the video, please select like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.